Good morning, everyone. Today is day 7, the final day of my reading 7 books in 7 days challenge. If you don't know what this is the 6th year I've been doing a challenge like this. I have a bunch of videos on it, but I also have, from this year, my TBR and my days 1 through 6 vlogs, which will be linked in the description box. But, it's actually like 9:30. This is the first day that I've started the vlog after, like, becoming a normal human. So I already went downstairs and had my coffee and brushed my teeth and everything, but I do have to make my bed and get dressed. I actually have to help my dad with something. He has to get his windshield fixed, so I have to pick him up from the place that he's at right now. And I also have a Ukrainian language lesson at 11, so I don't know when I'm actually going to be able to start my book. The book that I want to read today is Through the Dark by Alexandra Bracken, and it's exactly 400 pages, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to finish it today, but the question is just like when I'll be able to start reading it. My lesson is until 12, so I probably won't be able to start until after noon, but I'm trying to do this clip pretty quickly. I'll probably check in once I get back from picking up my dad, and I do have to edit my video, so that's probably going to take up precedence before reading, but I'm sure I can finish editing the video before my lesson at 11. So yeah, that is what I'm going to be doing today, and I'm super excited to read Through the Dark, and I just wanted to kind of pop in and say hello and good morning, and let you know what I'm going to be doing for the day. So I will check back in once I'm back home, and once I have gotten a little bit more ready for the day. So I've since returned from that small expedition, and I edited my video, and I actually had a lot of trouble exporting it because my computer does this sometimes where it'll say I have like 3 gigabytes left, and then I have to restart it like 2 or 3 times before it's like correct. So now it says I have over 150 gigabytes left, so I don't know, sometimes when I've been using iMovie too much or too often, that's what happens. So I had to fix that and restart my computer and everything, and export the video, and it's uploading and processing right now. It's probably in the checks stage right now, so yeah, I made the thumbnail and everything. I had my lesson. So right now, I can actually tell you because I'm looking at my computer, it is 12:05. And sorry, I always get freaked out when I see myself in the mirror in the viewfinder, but yeah, so the video should be going up. I obviously have to make my bed because it's not made, and I don't really like not having a made bed. It just like makes me feel unorganized. So I'm gonna make my bed, and I don't know what else. I'm probably gonna have to, because my dad had to drop off his car at this like motor fixer place, so I had to pick him up, and then we're probably gonna have to pick up the car later, so I might have to do that journey again. And yeah, I have not read a single word of Through the Dark yet, but as soon as I make my bed, I am going to go downstairs and try to read the first story. There's 3 stories in the book. In Time, Sparks Rise, and Beyond the Night, so I'm going to try to finish In Time. I think it's the longest one in the book, so wish me luck, but I'm going to try to read that one, and I will update you once I have some thoughts on it. It's going to be interesting reading a collection of short stories, because I'm going to have thoughts on each individual story and then the book as a whole, so we'll see how this goes. I wanted to do something kind of fun for this last day, so I don't know, maybe I'll figure something out. We shall see, but I am going to go now, so okay, goodbye. I'm not sure what time it is exactly, maybe like 12:30, 12:45, and I read the first story of Through the Dark by Alexandra Bracken. It was called In Time, and I enjoyed it. I'd probably give it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. It was a nice story. I don't foresee this book getting like anything 4 stars or above. I don't know. I'm just not the biggest fan of short story collections, but I still wanted to read this book nonetheless because I love this world. Well, love's a strong word. It's a very gritty world and definitely a little bit depressing. I honestly have no idea how Alexandra Bracken wrote this series for so many years in this like really dark headspace. But the first story was nice. I knew like the main twist in the story already, just, you know, from spoilers that I heard over the years. But I still thought it was an interesting story. I liked the main character, Gabe, and his accomplice, I guess, or his, you know, partner in the story, who is a main character from the main series. So I liked the two of them. The plot was interesting. Again, it's just a really dark world. I mean, as the title would suggest, and as the series title would suggest. But yeah, I thought it was good. Again, 3.5. I don't really have much to say on the story in particular, because it's just pretty short. I think the synopsis actually says it really well. A desperate young man is forced to make a terrible choice between his own survival and the future of a little girl who won't speak, but changes his life in ways he could never imagine. So it was cute. I liked their relationship, like their little friendship, and I thought the plot was interesting. And again, I think the world is really cool, the concept of the world, and they talked about how a lot of the colleges and universities in the country are, you know, defunct, kind of. So that was interesting. But it was the first 93 pages of the book were that story. So I'm on page 95, and the next story is Sparks Rise, and this story is also about 100 pages, so it's actually the last story, Beyond the Night. That's the longest one in this collection, so I'll probably split that one up, you know, into 2 sittings. But for now, I have to go and with my dad to pick up his car from the motor auto shop, whatever it's called, and then I'm gonna go get lunch, probably a sandwich, maybe some Starbucks, maybe I'll vlog, we shall see. But I'll check back in once I've gotten some food, and also once I probably read the next story of Through the Dark, so I'll see you then. Once again, it is a little while later. I ran that errand with my dad, and then we picked up lunch and ate it here, and I was just reading in our sunroom with my mom. She was reading her book also, but I finished the second story in Through the Dark. It was called Sparks Rise, so I'm now on page 215, so I'm over halfway through the book. I have 185 pages left, so I'm probably going to split it up, you know, between now and then the end of the day. So that's exciting, and I really enjoyed this story. I'd probably give it like 3.75 or 4 stars. I really liked the 2 main characters. I liked that it was dual POV, and I actually think that if the first story, In Time, had been told in both Gabe's and the girl's perspective, it would have been a lot more interesting. Although, I did forget to mention one thing about In Time, was there was this one section about how Gabe like overthinks things, and like something about that, and that resonated with me, but that's besides the point. In Sparks Rise, we follow 2 main characters, Lucas and Sam, and we learn a lot more about Thurmond, which is the like camp for the Psy kids, and that was really interesting because we didn't get to see a lot of it in The Darkest Minds because Ruby wasn't there for a ton of time, but I feel like in this story we really got to see the inner workings and the ins and outs of the camp, which I thought was really interesting and sad, because it's like a really awful camp, obviously. But I thought it was really, really interesting, and I liked the 2 main characters a lot. I liked their story and their backstory and everything. It's always so sad in dystopian books when you realize that they had like a perfectly normal life before all this horrible stuff happened, so that definitely was an aspect of this story, but I really enjoyed it, and I think it was really well written, and I obviously love Alexandra Bracken's writing, and I felt that the world was more interesting in this story than in the other book. In the other book it felt pretty dry, but in this one it felt really intricate and complex, and I liked all the inner working stuff, so definitely enjoyed that story a lot. So I have just one more, Beyond the Night, which takes place after in the afterlight. So I'm really excited to read that later, but I think I'm going to go on a walk today, or right now, because, I don't know, I feel like going outside. It's pretty nice out. So yeah, I think I'm going to go. I always feel bad, or I feel bad not really talking about the book that much, but I just really don't have much to say on it. Especially since the stories are only like 100 pages each. I'm sure I'm going to have a lot, or, you know, a good amount to say about Beyond the Night, just because it's, you know, close to 200 pages long. So that should be interesting. But yeah, I think I'm going to go outside and maybe, I don't know, make lemonade or tea or something. I feel like in a summer mood right now, so I think I'm going to do that. Maybe I'll get some work done later, but I think I kind of just want to take this day off and then get to work after this day is over, because this is the last day of the readathon and everything, so yeah, I might take you to see my cats before the day ends, if you're curious or interested, because I was hanging out with them earlier, but yeah, I will see you in a little while once I've read a little bit of Beyond the Night. So I have a pretty short reading update for you, but it's, I don't know, maybe 6:30, and we're gonna go pick up dinner. We're trying a new ramen place in close by town. I did get Starbucks, really enjoyed it. But I read the first couple of chapters of Beyond the Night, so that is the third and final novella in the Through the Dark collection, and I'm currently on page 270, so I have 130 pages left. I'm probably gonna read at least one more chapter, maybe before dinner or after dinner, I don't know, before I actually sit down and dedicate myself to finishing the book. One thing I did forget to mention about the previous novella, Sparks Rise, was actually that I loved the ending of that novella, the ending of the third to last chapter and then the two final chapters were really, really great, and that I think is what propelled me to giving it a 4 out of 5 stars as opposed to somewhere in the 3 range. And Beyond the Night is a little bit of a sequel to Sparks Rise, which I really like, and there was also a cool prologue-y type of bit, so that was really cool. And I really like the two perspectives in this story. So we have Sam, who was also one of the point of view characters in Sparks Rise, but then we also have Mia, who is the sister to the other perspective character in Sparks Rise. So it's interesting, and I really like the characters in it, and this takes place in the afterlife, so we kind of get to see the fallout of what happened after the conclusion of that book that wasn't really addressed in The Darkest Legacy, because that book takes place 5 years after in the afterlife, whereas this one is pretty soon after that finale. So I'm really liking that. Obviously, I love Alexandra Bracken's writing. These stories are really interesting, and I think that even though I'm not the biggest fan of short story collections, and even though this isn't my favorite series of all time, or one of my favorite worlds of all time, I'm still able to really enjoy it and enjoy the characters and the writing and the plots. So yeah, even these, from just judging off of the first couple of chapters of Beyond the Night, I have a feeling that it'll probably be my favorite one in the collection. Also, it's the longest, so it'll probably be the meatiest, which I'm excited to read about and delve further into. But as I said, we are going to place an order for our dinner and pick it up. My sister is coming home tonight. She was with her friend in the Hamptons, so she's coming back and she's going to stay the night and then probably go back to the city tomorrow. But yeah, that'll be fun. We'll probably watch a movie or something, I don't know. But I'm excited to continue on with Beyond the Night and finish up Through the Dark later. So I will check back in once I probably had some dinner and maybe read another chapter or two of the story, and then I'll check back in again for the final clip where I'll talk about my overall thoughts on the book. So, it is the next day. Yesterday, when I finished the book, my family wanted to go up to watch a movie, so I didn't really have time to film a final clip, and then it was already 11:30 by the time we got down, and I was way too tired to film, so I'm just going to do it now, and I'm also going to do a little bit of a wrap-up for the week. So last night, I did finish the final story, Beyond the Night, which was, as I said, the final story in Through the Dark, and I really loved that story. In particular, it was definitely my favorite one. The stories in this collection got better and better. So yeah, Beyond the Night, it was really good. I liked that it was connected to the previous story, Sparks Rise. I liked how it was almost like a sequel. Or just, a straight continuation. It was like we got a 300-page book in here, basically. And I loved getting to see the original cast. Ruby, Liam, Chubbs, all of them. Vita. Vita is, one of my favorite characters. I love her. She's so funny. And I loved, there were a lot of great conversations in the story. There was a really sweet one between Mia, I think it was, and Liam. I really loved that, and because they have both of their brothers were Reds, so it was kind of this whole thing. But I really loved that story. I'd probably honestly give it a 4.5. It was really well written. I loved, Alexandra Bracken's descriptions in that story in particular. It felt like, since In Time was written, I think, right after The Darkest Minds. She was still kind of finding her footing and everything. Then Sparks Rise was written between Never Fade and In the Afterlight, which I liked. You could definitely see, like, you know, after Never Fade, which I liked a lot more than The Darkest Minds, she was, like, starting to get even better as an author. And then after In the Afterlight, she had gotten, like, great. And that was when she was, like, writing Passenger and everything. So I really loved Beyond the Night. I thought it was definitely the best story in the collection. I really liked the two characters, Sam and Mia, and I loved the two, like, there was a beginning section, like this. It was kind of bolded and you don't know who it is, and I loved at the end finding out who it was. So this story kind of had a frame structure where we started and ended with that same bolded whatever POV, and I loved getting to see all of that. I felt like this book as a whole was really a great collection, and I've heard that Alexandra Bracken was a great short story writer, and this definitely proved that. I'm not the biggest fan of short story collections or novellas in general, but this one was definitely really great. And even though I didn't love In Time, and even though In Time definitely felt very separate from Sparks Rise and Beyond the Night, I thought it was interesting to, again, see more of Zoo, meet another character, kind of see the world outside of Ruby's head, and I thought that they all worked together to form an interesting sort of backbone of the series, even if all three of the stories weren't connected necessarily. So yeah, I thought also the plot of Beyond the Night was really great. Again, I kind of think of Sparks Rise and Beyond the Night as like one 300-page book, but I think Beyond the Night had the most action in it. There was the most character development. I loved the ending. I thought it came so full circle, and it was just really sweet and heartwarming. And I loved getting to see more of Sam because we met her in the original series. I don't remember if we met Lucas or Mia in the original trilogy, but I loved getting to read from their POVs, and I just thought Beyond the Night was really, really great. So it was like, it felt like one of the original books, and I loved getting to see some questions answered that I had after In the Afterlight, because I felt like In the Afterlight ended really abruptly, and I think this definitely helped round that that conclusion out a little bit. So really enjoyed Beyond the Night, and I ended up giving this collection 4 out of 5 stars. So yeah, this was a really, really great reading week, and I'm super happy that I ended with this book, and I can't believe I'm done with the Darkest Minds series, but I'm happy that I finally got around to this short story collection. So I thought before I'd end the vlog, I would just kind of wrap up this week, so that's what I'm going to do now. I started the week by reading The Agathas by Kathleen, Glasgow, and Liz Lawson, and I ended up giving this book a 4 out of 5 stars. And this book was 395 pages. Then on the second day, I read Forging Silver into Stars by Brigid Kemmerer, which I gave 5 out of 5 stars. And this book is 542 pages. On the third day, I read Death in the Clouds by Agatha Christie, which I gave 4 out of 5 stars, and this book was 253 pages long. On the fourth day, I read The How and the Why by Cynthia Hand, which I gave 5 out of 5 stars, and this book was 446 pages. On the fifth day, I read Shah and the Nectar of Immortality by Roshani Chokshi. I gave this book 4 stars, and it was 362 pages. On the sixth day, I read The Mystery of Mrs. Christie by Benedict, which I gave 4 out of 5 stars as well, and this book was 262 pages. And then, on the last day, I obviously read Through the Dark by Alexandra Bracken, aka In Time, Sparks Rise, and Beyond the Night, and this book in total was 400 pages, and obviously I gave it 4 stars. So I'm not going to do the math in my head right now because that would just take way too long, but this is the total number of pages that I read this week, and this was the average star, or I'll put it over here, this was the average star rating that I gave this week. So yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this week and this final vlog. I always have fun doing this every single year, and I'm super happy that I was able to squeeze it in at the end of the summer. But yeah, I really enjoyed all the books that I read this week, and I hope that you enjoyed the vlogs. I am super excited to do this next year, and yeah, that is it for this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed. All my social media links are in the description box below, and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye!